Story number 1. Sorry, your 6-year-old can't use my $1,300 phone. I own a Galaxy Note 9, one I purchased with my own money, which is big because I'm only 14 years old. I enjoy making sketches on it, and I'm called a good artist by my friends. So when I sketch with it in public, I feel pretty proud when people watch, and I don't mind it at all. I was sitting in the bookstore my mom owns because she works Saturdays. I usually stay home, but she was working late and didn't trust me. I was sitting in a reading chair, and I pulled out my phone to finish a drawing I was working on. A family of 5 with entitled mom, entitled dad, and 3 kids about 6 to 14 years old. The youngest kid picks out a book and sits on the chair next to me. He looks over my shoulder to see what I was drawing. And as I said, I didn't mind. He's talking about my drawings and my phone, and I took the compliments. He then gets super excited for some reason and goes to tell entitled parents about it. Entitled dad, somewhat respectful yet confrontational, says, "Hi, we'll be here for a while. Can my youngest use that toy for a bit?" Me, "Sorry, it's not a toy, it's my phone." Entitled dad says, "It's not your phone, it's a drawing thing." Me, "Yes, I draw on my phone." He looks at me visually confused and asks his wife to come over. Their kids follow her. Entitled dad says to entitled mom, he won't let Jacob, that's not his real name, use his drawing board. They looked like an older couple, so it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't know much about cell phones. Entitled mother says in a kindergarten teacher voice, "Will you please let my son use your drawer?" Me, "This is my phone. I bought it myself for $1,300. No, your child cannot use it." Entitled mother says, "That piece of junk probably cost $5. She then tries to take it from my hands. I resist, and she pulls harder. I pull it back in my hands and call for my mom. She looks over the counter to see what was going on. She was busy with a customer, so I was on my own until the transaction was done. Entitled dad says to the youngest son, "See, Jacob, that's how mean people act when they don't share." I'm a bit shy, I have mild anxiety, so I began to break down a bit and said to entitled dad, "I have a right not to give your child my $1,300 phone." Entitled mothers, "Let's go," like it was contaminated. They looked at me like I was crazy and walked off, talking about my attitude. The 2 other kids came up to me and apologized for their crazy parents' behavior. They were super nice about it, but I didn't want to deal with anything as I was still recovering from the whole thing. The benefit to having your mom own a store is you don't have to ask them to leave. She does. I stayed in the back for the rest of the day. Entitled Parents, story number 2. How dare you touch my daughter's bra? Happened to a male coworker of mine. I'm never on cash register, but I had the fortune of cleaning something nearby when this occurred and got to witness the fun. Coworker was at his register when entitled mom with her young teen daughter came up with their purchases. He greeted them and started scanning their items. Everything was normal. Then he picked up a bra to scan and take the hard tag off. Entitled mother says, "What do you think you're doing?" Coworker says, "I'm sorry?" Entitled mother says, "Why are you fondling my daughter's bra?" Coworker says, "Oh, I need to scan it, that's all." Entitled mother says, "Get someone else to do it." Coworker says, "I don't understand the problem, ma'am." At this point, the daughter was red in the face and nudging her mom, asking her to let it go. But no, entitled mom wasn't screaming, but she was definitely being loud. She started calling coworker a pervert and indecent, saying that a gentleman should never touch a young woman's underwear. Coworker was trying to explain that he was just doing his job. Another cashier got a manager, who rushed over. She arrived and asked Entitled Mother to explain the situation. Entitled Mother says, "This perv was fondling my daughter's new bra. He should have at least called a woman to come handle it. Wasn't he taught that when you hired him?" Manager says, "We don't train our employees to do any such thing. We train them to respect every item and every customer." Manager continues to say, "Ma'am, coworker has worked here for 2 years. He scans bras all the time. Trust me, it's not sexual for him." Entitled Mother yelled at coworker and my manager for being disgusting perverts and said she'd be calling the police on us for condoning pedophilia. She grabbed her embarrassed daughter and stormed out the door. We all had a good chuckle about it. Other customers shook their heads and rolled their eyes. Coworker was fine. He thought it was ridiculous and funny. He's been retelling the story all day. Entitled Parents, story number 3. Entitled Mom tries to get me expelled for bringing my snake to school. With permission. So, I have a corn snake. She's tiny. Like half an inch in diameter on the biggest part of her body. Her name is Cornflake. I also go to a charter school that does project-based learning. So if our teacher gives us a project, and we have another idea that accomplishes the same criteria, we can usually do it if we ask. So in my science class, we did a unit on evolution. And I wanted to make a presentation on snakes and how they evolved into what they are today. So I asked to bring my snake in for the presentation and got permission. After, my teacher and I cleared it with the class to make sure that no one was deathly afraid of snakes. So the day of the presentation comes, and I'm up there talking. And this girl, entitled girl, ignores the sign on the door that says "Presentations in progress, do not disturb," and walks right in and starts loudly talking to the teacher. Teacher explained that she had to leave, and the girl scoffed and rolled her eyes, but went to leave. She sees me and the snake. Entitled girl says, "I don't like snakes." I say, "Okay." Entitled girl says, "You're not allowed to have that here. It's gross." I say, "I got permission." Teacher interrupts and says, "Entitled girl, go to class." Entitled girl says, "But it's a snake. It should be dead, not in a school." I say as I'm backing away because I literally had someone try to kill Cornflake before, "Well then, go away and you won't have to look at her." Entitled girl says, "Hey, teacher, OP is being rude." Teacher says, "Go to class, entitled girl." Entitled girl scowled and stormed out of the room. Everybody just sort of rolled their eyes, and I finished my presentation. I figured that would be the end of it. But when I went to get Cornflake at the end of the day, I had to leave her in the office during all my other classes. The girl and her entitled mom were already in there. The entitled girl was literally sobbing, saying that I traumatized her and threatened to have my snake eat her and chased her with it. The entitled mother was screaming about how I should be expelled for bringing a snake anywhere near a school. The office ladies were trying to calm the two down and asked me if what the girl said was true. Obviously, I said no, so they called the teacher to confirm what happened. Teacher explained. Girl said he was lying. I was allowed to go home. Later, my advisor, he tells us things we're not supposed to, he's really cool, told me that the mom had tried to get me expelled and the teacher fired. And she was planning to sue us for emotional damages. But I had never heard anything from my parents about that, so I guess she didn't go through with it. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please smash that button.